Two different directions to go with this one, Mitch. The Suns lose to the Hawks last night. They acquire center Nick Richards in between us talking to you right now in that game, which can lead you to say, like, yes, Nick Richards certainly would have helped you in that game and would have helped you maybe even win that game instead of lose that game. But the problems in key areas persisted for this team almost immediately. It was apparent that their energy and their engagement and from our perspective, their interest in doing all of the little details that they need to do to be a great team, they just don't have any interest in doing it right now, which makes it extremely difficult to find any sort of belief in this team, even after making a move like this that does make them a better basketball team.
So I wonder this then. Is this the front office's way of saying, we still believe in you in spite of everything that we've seen the last couple of games, last couple of weeks, this whole season, let's be honest. We still believe in what this team can do, and we still want to go out there and we want to compete and we want to win. Is that what this front office is saying? Or are they saying, hey, what the frick, guys? We need you to wake up, and so what we're going to do is we're going to bring in this guy who addresses several areas that we need help in, and if you think we're done, nuh-uh, but if you turn your back on us and let us down again, then we're throwing a stick of dynamite into this thing. I think that there seems to be some sort of disconnect between what the front office's hopes are and just what the product that we're seeing on the court is. You would think that with the players that they had prior to this deal, there would have been the aggressive initiative. There would have been the aggressive initiative to go out there and say, hey, we were a 9-2 basketball team at one point, and now we've only got 10 extra wins to show for it in the beginning of January. Where was the fight that we had at the beginning of October and November, and where can we apply that now? And can we try? And can we go out there and actually act like we want to be champions one day?
Here's Kevin Durant on the loss.
Second chance points and fouls. They got to the free throw line. And they got second chance points at 10 offensive rebounds from Congo, 20 offensive rebounds as a team, 14 more shots. Yeah, that's the game.
And Bradley Beal on the loss.
Yeah, we just got to do it. We're just ball watching. Watching guys jump over us, watching guys run past us, get the ball, get the rebound, first to the ball on the floor. Especially the long stuff, that's on us guards. We got to get in there and get touchdowns.
That's the thing, Mitch. Like, you can watch all these offensive rebounds, the 20 offensive rebounds that Atlanta had, and how many of them were Mason Plumlee or Oso Ighodaro's fault? A couple, sure. Don't get me wrong, a couple, but not nearly the majority of them. It was on Brad, Kevin, Devin, Royce, Grayson, Tyus, all those guys finding a body and committing to rebounding. Like, there is a old adage, and you just see it, like, guys just stand around when the ball goes up sometimes, and there is no commitment to going to where the ball might be, will be, finding space, attacking it. Like, there's just no intention with their effort when they know this is their huge problem. Like, this has been their gigantic problem over the last couple of games, and we've seen no mentality shift from them at all. And the thing that is going to be, I think, frustrating to see in the next couple of weeks is that even if the offensive rebounding gets cleaned up, it's probably going to be other things that start to come up now. It's probably going to be turnovers. It might just be playing in transition. Like, these problems just continue to keep up with this team in different ways. We saw it last year, and we're seeing it this year again. And I don't have any reason to believe that it's going to change.
Well, I can count on 3 guys to at least lead the charge in the areas that we're hoping to see improve and be the lighter fluid to the Suns' gas can that really just needs to, like, get burning right now. Nick Richards, because he was just acquired by this team, and this team obviously has lofty aspirations, and they're now giving him an opportunity to be one of the 5 players that starts the game and maybe one of the 5 players that finishes the game. So I imagine that he's number 1. And then number 2 and 3 are the 2 rookies, Ryan Dunn and Oso Ighodaro, only because it feels like any time that they're out there on the floor, they're at least doing their best to give it their all, find ways to contribute in more ways than one. They're being aggressive and physical, even if it's not going their way out there. Like, we've mentioned the rebounding issues that Oso has just because he's more of a smaller big than some of the bigs that he's been facing the last few weeks. But they at least go out there and they try, man. It's not like they just made the league and boom, I'm done, I'm set. They know that they've still got work to do to prove that they get the minutes that they are getting night in and night out. There were periods of time where Oso was getting 0 minutes. Periods of time where Oso was getting like 5 minutes. And at times, I thought he was deserving of way more just because of the energy and the burst that he would provide when he would come out there. I trust those 3 guys, but is anybody else going to be out there to provide that energy? I just don't know. I don't see it from anybody else.
27 second chance points for Atlanta. Here's a couple from Budenholzer on the rebounding.
You know, I mean, it starts with just everybody who's out there has got to participate. Everybody's out there got to commit to going and rebounding. You know, so are there, you know, other guys or other things that maybe we can do to help our rebounding? You know, we got to look at that and see where we can get better. But everybody that's out there has got to, you know, make a commitment to go get it. That's where it always starts.
To your point, last segment, they looked at it and they went and got Nick Richards, like immediately. One more from Coach Bud.
You know, I mean, I think you know, it's been a recurring theme tonight, you know, is the boards. We got to finish possessions. You know, and I think probably bring a physicality to the pick and roll game, to the switching, the communication, all those things. You know, we got to be a little bit better.
I said this on the post-game show last night, Mitch. Like, they should feel embarrassed. I don't know if they feel embarrassed, but they should be embarrassed because these are severely less talented teams than them that continue to beat them. Atlanta did not have Jalen Johnson, who's their second leading scorer. They did not have DeAndre Hunter, who's their third leading scorer. Guys like Vic Krejci and Garrison Matthews, who are borderline NBA players, looked comfy as could be on the court, were making impact plays all over the place. And that's just, I think it has to be embarrassing. Now, you would like to see that level of embarrassment come across like tomorrow. Like, how about you just beat the Wizards by 30? But I'm worried about them losing to the Wizards. I'm not worried about them blowing them out. Like, so we can sit here and talk about Nick Richards, talk about future moves and all that kind of stuff. Even a move on the scale and the magnitude of Jimmy Butler, again, we just have no evidence to believe that enough is going to change on the floor to turn this team into the contender that they should be.
And to your point, they're adding a guy who's maybe top 40 at his position. Not top 40 in the league, top 40 at his position.
He's fine.
Does that provide enough impact for what this team already is to lead us to believe that they're going to get any better? And quite frankly, right after your diatribe, the answer is no. Like, if anybody just heard what you had to say either last night or just now, should be understanding of the fact that the product that we're seeing on the floor has really been no different from the start of the year to now. If we're being honest, that 9-2 start was a lot of going through the motions, and then they were just better in the fourth quarter because they had the best clutch player in the league. The defense really amped up another notch in those second halves, and things were great. Then they started to get into a regressive pattern of, and I get it, they were down 2 of their key offensive players at the time, but these regressive patterns of just coming out of the locker room and not looking prepared or engaged at all whatsoever. There was a stretch where they were losing third quarters left and right, and by absurd margins, and against teams that they should have been handling with ease in spite of everything that they were lacking. I'm not convinced. I'm appreciative of the move, and like I said in the previous segment, I like the move and what it can do for this team, but I'm not convinced that this is just going to all of a sudden vault you over everybody that's ahead of you right now. I don't see it.
And Brad got hurt last night. Like,
Yay,
Brad is doubtful
great.
for tomorrow's game because he sprained his left ankle. Now, again, like, it's not like he's just jogging and then all of a sudden, like, his knee goes out or whatever. Like, it's these happenstance situations where off of a turnover, he's hustling back. One of the few guys that was hustling all night, by the way, Brad. Even when I say that, there's a bunch of clips where he's just standing there too. But he was one of the guys at least providing hustle more than others, I thought, with his play. He hustles back to try and grab a defensive rebound that is going to be an offensive rebound, and he lands on David Roddy's foot in the process, twists his left ankle, and he's doubtful for tomorrow's game. And that has been the biggest problem for them this year, more than their play on the court, has been staying healthy. But here's the thing. Last night was the 8th straight game where Beal, Booker, and Durant have all played in the game, and that is the longest streak by far this year, which is where we should start to see some cohesion. Start to see some continuity. Mm-hmm. I don't see any of it.
And at what point are we going to see it? Because I can't remember who said it, but I think it was somebody on our station that said, I think it was Vinny, I know that they care, but they don't look like that they care. And if they're not giving off the impression that they care about what they're doing, that they care about the ultimate goal that this fan base has been desperate for ever since this team became a team all the way back in 1968, then why are they here? Why are they saying everything they say that, yeah, we want to go out and we want to win a championship and we want to be a part of the first team that wins a championship? And then just on a night in, night out basis, it's like, Oh, we get behind by 5 and we fold. Oh, I recognize that I'm in a heater, and sometimes that messes with the flow of the offense. Does this team not talk to each other? Just it makes no sense to me. It makes zero sense to me.
It was clear that there was zero communication or little communication on the floor last night. Like there were just several missed assignments where it was just someone not calling out a switch or not talking on something. It was bizarre. And the thing that they need to do is they not only need to win basketball games, but wins aren't enough right now. Like they need to win in a fashion that suggests that things are changing, because remember, they went 35-18 and the year last year they were top 10 in offense and defense, and yet we saw a lot of wins and losses like this that led us to believe that they weren't fully fixed, and then what happened in the playoffs happened in the playoffs.